Hey, what's going on, guys? Richie Fix here, back with another video, and we're gonna just keep on going along here as we've got a lot of news to cover. Now, Jada did drop not only one, but two pre-orders today as they announced AKUMA. Now we're moving on to the second one in Balrog, and we've got more pretty promotional pictures to look at as these go on pre-order tomorrow. But with Jada dropping, of course, there has to be a little bit of drama, right? We're going to talk about Balrog, we're going to talk about the pictures, how he looks, and, well, the drama. Here he is in all his glory. We have Balrog. Now, very interesting here. I thought he was going to get, like, ungloved hands for some reason. I thought when you took the initial gloves off, I thought the wristband things would kind of come off and then he could get, like, bare knuckles. But it does look like you get a different set of boxing gloves. Now, what the detail is on that, or if it's just like a different posture, they seem to be a little bit open where the ones on him are a closed fist. So very cool. I mean, I'm not bothered by it or anything. He's a boxer. He should have his gloves on at all time. I'm fine with that. That's character style choice. But I did think for a second that he was going to get like bare knuckle hands. But then he does get some cool punching effects. I like that because for the bigger characters, I mean, obviously these can be used across multiple lines that fit that mold, so that's those are cool effects. A little plain, I guess, maybe. I mean, if that's any critique whatsoever, I mean, I'm really having to dig here to find critiques on this one because I absolutely love everything about it. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead. Again, I didn't pull every single promotional picture, because, I mean, granted, there's not a whole lot you can do with Balrog, as he's more just kind of like a stance and punch and kind of guy. So, I mean, they really just have him in dynamic but generic poses, if that makes any sense. But, man, of course, there has to be a little bit of drama with this release that Jada decided to wait for. And we're going to talk about that. And, yeah, let's do that now. That is going to be Balrog. He looks like he comes with, you know, the traditional Jada package. He's got a couple effect pieces on this one. The additional hands, the head sculpt, I think everything turned out absolutely amazing on this figure. I actually can't believe I'm saying this. I think I might like this one just a little bit better than AKUMA. And just to kind of break it all down, this is going to be considered a deluxe figure just because he is a taller, bulkier figure. So don't be shocked. And I don't know if they're counting AKUMA as a deluxe figure. While AKUMA is bigger than Ken and Ryu, I don't know if that necessarily counts as deluxe. But I do believe the ones that they did say were going to be deluxe were E Honda, Zangief, and T-Hawk, and Balrog. I think, if I remember that correctly, I think the only normal pricing releases that were left that JUHN had mentioned were going to be AKUMA and VEGA. So, and that's another thing too, we really don't even know what the prices are. The last pre-order that we've seen go up for a traditional figure was CAMMY, but a lot of people make that argument and that's because it wasn't exclusive. But I argue that, you know, a lot of people say, well, White Gi Ken was more expensive too, but that's because he did actually come with that additional effect piece than the actual standard Ken did. So it's really going to be up in the air. If we see $32.99 on AKUMA and then we see a 37, we'll know. If these are both, I think the new deluxe is going to be $37.99 or $40, I think. Don't quote me on that. I think we'll find out tomorrow. And then, but yeah, I do think this is going to be considered a deluxe pricing, and I don't think AKUMA will, but only time will tell. I don't know that for a fact. I just remember him saying that. So overall, I do think I like this one a little bit better. And again, I couldn't tell you why. It's just something about it. The aura speaks to me a lot more on this Balrog than the AKUMA. And in all honesty, I was more excited for the AKUMA, but that's where the drama kind of comes in. And I hate to do this and I hate to say it, but what is Jada without Storm? Of course, Storm actually has a booth and, you know, their presence at this New York Comic-Con where I think I saw something. I know in the last video I said Jada wasn't going, but then somebody sent me something that they are going to have Jada product there. So I don't know if they changed their minds. Maybe they are ending up going, but, you know, time will only find out. You know, this is only Wednesday. So, unfortunately, though, I have seen shots already of AKUMA, and I'm planning on Balrog being there. And that's the thing, man. It's like, why did they wait? They knew Storm was going to this thing, and it's like, now there's this whole thing where it's going to be comparison, and I hate that for Jada. That's the thing. I don't think Jada's inferior to Storm. It's just I hate that they are always they can't catch a break with the Storm stuff, but then it's like they did this to themselves. Of course they knew Storm was going to New York Comic Con for sure, or they should have at least. If you were, obviously you want to keep an eye on your competitor. You keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, as the old saying goes. And, man, now it's just like, are they going to get overshadowed by Storm again? I know people are collecting both. I'm collecting both. But there's always going to be those people. It's just in human nature that competition is a thing. And because it's the exact same characters, now, mind you, they are separate games, so you can make that argument that they are separate games. It's not the same, it's not going to be the exact same characters, and they will be releasing at separate times. I mean, I think this is trying to make this year. I can't guarantee that they're going to make this year's 2025 deadline. Only time will tell with that. But I do know that, Storms won't be far behind. And I just hate that they released at the same time, because I feel like Jada could have got these out faster. I do. And if their plan was to release them on New York Comic Con weekend, then I feel like that's bad marketing. To not think that that Storm wasn't going to come full power with their stuff as well. Like, I don't know, man. I just hate that for Jada, that now, again, we're going to have that competition all weekend again, where you see people talking about whose looks better. And now you're going to have people have seen Storm's AKUMA. It looks really good. And I've already seen people say, oh, I'm not getting Jada's now because this one looks better. It's like, but that's not everyone, right? You will have people that still collect both. There is still room for both. But there's a lot of people out there that thrive on this rivalry now. And I do think it has become that, unfortunately. And I do think both companies need each other at the end of the day, right? Because without Jada, there is no Storm Arena, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people's opinions. Storm saw the success Jada was having, and they, obviously pivoted to go to smaller scale and get some of that money themselves. But, I like this for, obviously, it's kicked Storm in the ass to get their ass in motion. So we would not see the production and the speed that we're seeing with Storm right now if it's not for Jada. But we wouldn't see the new articulation and different sculpting and different games and things like that if it weren't for Storm. So they both are going to push each other. I do think we need both companies. And Jada's not going anywhere anyways. It's not like they would see Storm and be like, oh, we're packing up shop. It's over, guys. They're doing 1/12 figures, and so are we. There is room for both. But at the end of the day, there will still be people arguing which line is better, which line's inferior, and all that. And I make cases for both. I mean, I like both. But at the end of the day, you can obviously pick and choose which stylistic choices you like better. And a lot of us are already on the Street Fighter Ultra 2 journey with Jada, me included. I mean, who's just going to pack up shop after we've already gotten 80% of the roster and just be like, oh, nope, never mind, I'm done. Storm Arena's here. So I don't think that's going to be the case, but I just hate it for Jada in the way they made this happen, as far as like, come on, Jada, you knew that Storm was going to make a presence at this New York Comic Con. Why didn't you get these out faster? Because had they gotten these out just a week, hell, even a couple of days earlier, they would have got their own shine and limelight, and they still are going to get that. Just not as much as they should have deserved, because now they got that Storm Arena shadow. And granted, we've only seen AKUMA. We don't know for sure they're going to show off Balrog, but it's only Wednesday. I'm sure they haven't put everything out yet that they're going to show off, and maybe they have. At the time of this video, my phone's been blowing off the hook with different people showing me different things from Jada and Storm and the whole thing, so I'm not even caught up. Maybe they already have shown Balrog, but it's like, I just hate this for Jada, man, because again, it's just a shadow that they could have probably avoided, in my opinion. But then they thought they were making the smart move by doing it this week. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are on it, if they should have got these out sooner to avoid comparisons with Storm, because I know people are sick of talking about it, but some people love it. And I don't mind talking about it. I just hate, like, the backlash that I get. Like, I'm on both teams, guys. And I'm gonna make arguments, pros and cons for both sides. And Storm is, say what you want to say. Storm's coming. And you can obviously see they've really pushed far this year, pushed out a lot of things this year. And Jada had a strong first half, but they have slowed down a little bit towards the end. And we don't even know for sure until tomorrow if these are going to make 2025. I mean, I would assume they are, but I can't be for certain. So we don't know prices either. Maybe they've had prices go up too, and that's why we haven't seen a price announced with any of these leaks or, you know, preview photos, whatever you want to call them beforehand. So me not seeing a price with these is making me think the prices have gone up. And I'm very curious to see when the pre-order dates are going to satisfy. But other than that, guys, I've got a lot of videos now coming up for you. And here's another one. I dropped the video not even an hour ago talking about AKUMA. Here's Balrog. And, well, this is all I've got on Jada so far. But don't think that this is not the last time you'll hear Jada this weekend. I can promise you that. We've got a lot going. If you've made it this far, you're a trooper. I know I've talked a lot and I've talked too much for what this video needed to be, but I hate that for Jada, man. I wish they would have done something different, but hey, you can't look to the past now. We can only look to the future, and well, I think at the end of the day, these figures look great, and Jada hasn't missed yet. I'm still getting both of them, but unfortunately, now because they've waited, they are now getting side-by-side comparisons with their counterpart in Storm Arena. So other than that, guys, let me know what you think of the Balrog. Do you love it? Which one do you like better between AKUMA and Balrog? And do you think Jada should have announced these earlier to avoid the comparison with Storm so they could have had their own limelight? I certainly think they should, but hey, at the end of the day, you can collect both. So there's no rules. But again, I got a lot of work to do. This isn't the last you heard from me by a long shot. I'll see you on the next one. Richie Figs. Later.